Hello friends, my name is Whitley and welcome to another round of LucidiTBR, my TBR game where I play as a dreamer, fighting nightmares while also trying not to become one. If this is your first time seeing one of my TBR games, I will link January's video here. This is going to go into more in depth of the rules, what each space, symbol, and nightmare means, and what are the consequences for filling each of the tracks. In essence, I am going to roll some dice out of this bag, and every die that I roll is going to be added to my dreamer board, and every die is another book that I'm going to be adding to my TBR. There are 4 different colored dice in the bag, and each color is corresponding to a different nightmare. Each of the nightmares has been assigned a different genre. Each of the symbols on each of the die correspond to a different symbol on the board and has been assigned a different prompt. If I don't read enough books from the previous month and therefore removing the dice from the board, or if I just have unlucky rolls, I could fill one of these tracks up, and that could result in various consequences for my dreamer. I could become exhausted, I could become a nightmare, or I could even die, each of those coming with a different consequence for my reading. But if you've been here before, or you just want to simply learn as you go, which you absolutely can, let's get into it. As always, first things first, we have to find out how I did with last month's TBR to see if we are going to need to carry over any of the books and any of the die going into this month. Roll 1 was a green power, which is an anticipated romance. For that, I chose The River Has Roots by Amal El-Motar, and I did read that, so we can remove that die from the board. Roll 2 was a yellow exhaust, which means we spun our spinner wheel and got a library book. For this, I chose This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Motar and Max Gladstone, which I also read. Roll 3 was a blue shadow, which is a fantasy backlist. For this, I chose Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, which I did read, so we can remove that from the board. Roll 4 was a red exhaust, which is a horror, and the wheel gave us 2 or more POVs. For this, I chose Carrie by Stephen King, which I read as well. Roll 5 was a blue shadow, which is another fantasy backlist. For this, I chose The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which I read as well. Roll 6, I got another yellow exhaust, which filled this track, which means that I had to spin the nightmare wheel, and I chose The Invited by Jennifer McMahon for the nightmare wheel prompt, and I read that as well, so no disadvantages there. And for this die, I chose They Never Learn by Lane Fargo, which I also read. We love to see it, a nice clean board. It is always so nice going into the next month with a nice clean board. We love to see it. But now let's get into this month's rolls and prompts. As a little reminder, I'm going to be drawing 3 dice out of this bag. I'm going to choose one, I'm going to roll it and resolve it. So depending on the color of the die and the symbol that it lands on, I'm going to pick a book that corresponds to the nightmares genre and the symbol's prompt. I'm going to be rolling 6 dice for 6 books as always. I will be participating in a readathon this month. I will be participating in Escape the Readathon, which is a team-based competitive readathon hosted by Lexi over at Books with Lexi. I will be sure to link her channel and her announcement video down below. But basically every year she chooses a different theme of a scenario where we have to try to escape. This year we are astronauts and we have been taken hostage by some aliens. We have to make our way through the different rooms on our spaceship in order to try to find the escape pod. But the only catch is the escape pod is only big enough for one team, so whoever gets there first is the ones to escape. The challenging part is each room has a different prompt, but you don't know which rooms you are going to encounter throughout your journey, and you're not going to visit every single room, so you don't really know what prompts you're going to have for the following month. I mean, we know what all of the prompts are for each of the rooms, but you don't know which rooms that you're going to encounter. So it is kind of hard to pick what books you want to preemptively choose for this readathon, but all of the prompts are pretty adaptable. So I'm not going to be choosing any book specifically for the readathon, but I did want to mention it because if you do want to participate, be sure to come and join the astronomers. I participated for the first time last year and had such a great time. So I was so excited to participate again with, you know, the theme of being stuck in space. I'm feeling some sci-fi. There is also some very highly anticipated horror that has recently come out that I would love to try to fit on this TBR as well. But let's get into the rolls and see what the dice have in store. Oh, actually, before we do that, I wanted to show off my little new guy. He is my little new dice tower. He's so cute. I love him so much. With, you know, fighting nightmares, I was wanting to get something a little spooky, a little creepy, maybe a little cosmic. So I printed a little Cthulhu dice tower and I love him so much. Give me some name ideas down in the comments because this little guy needs a name. But anyway, hopefully this little guy brings me some luck. So let's get into the rolls. Draw one. We have a red, a blue, and a green. Let's start off with a red. Roll one is a horror. Ooh, and we start off with a power. Let's go. Our little guy is already bringing the luck. We love starting with a power. Roll one, we got a red power. Red is the nightmare of primeval fear, which is a horror. And power is pretty much any book that I am excited about. It is a book that has some hype surrounding it. So I have the perfect book for this. I am choosing Molka by Monica Kim. Let me just read you the definition of Molka, and that will kind of set the tone for this book. So Molka is the Korean term for hidden or miniature spy cameras, secretly and illegally installed, often to capture voyeuristic images and videos. And that is honestly pretty much all I know about this book. I know that we follow a woman who is forced to kind of face the backlash and the fallout after her and her partner are filmed sleeping together against her knowledge and against her will, obviously, with a tagline like, he has a taste for voyeurism, but she has a thirst for revenge. We are obviously going to get a revenge storyline, and I have been loving feminine rage, good for her revenge stories really over the past year. And I did read Monica Kim's debut, which was The Eyes Are the Best Part. It wasn't one of my favorites, but I did enjoy it. It wasn't as quite horror forward as I was expecting it to be, but now that I kind of know her writing taste, I feel like I'm going into this with a little bit more realistic expectations, and I am excited for it. And I've never read a horror or any book really that delves into this specific microtrope of hidden cameras and like internet, and it truly sounds awful, but I am so here for it. I'm so excited. I mean, I have read some like voyeurism, but never without the person's consent or knowledge, and never in like a horror setting. So I am very excited. Draw two. We have a green, a yellow, and a blue. Let's go with a yellow. Roll two is a yellow, which is any other genre, and another power. Let's go. This dice tower is bringing me all of the luck, and I love it. Roll two, we got a yellow power. Yellow is the nightmare of imprisonment, which is pretty much any other genre other than horror, romance, or fantasy. For this, I am choosing a dystopian. I'm going with Shift by Hugh Howey. This is the second in the Silo series. This is the sequel to Wool, which I read last month and really did enjoy. This is a dystopian series where the surface of the earth has become uninhabitable. So in order to survive, humanity has built and moved into this huge, massive underground silo. The people that live in this silo have known no other life. They have lived there their entire life. This was like generations and generations ago. And even though they live in relative comfort, there are always going to be the people that are looking for more, that aren't like drinking the punch, if you know what I'm saying. They think that there is more out there, the conspiracy theorists, but these conspiracy theorists always have a way of either ending up killing themselves, or going out to clean. So these silos have these cameras on the outside that show what desolate wasteland lies outside of the silo as a kind of reminder to the inhabitants what they are being protected from. But these cameras can only be cleaned by hand. So they use this as a kind of punishment for lawbreakers, that if you break laws, you're going to have to be sent out to clean. And the number one law is don't say you want to go outside, because you will absolutely get your wish. There is a lot going on in this first book to really set up the world, but we mostly follow a woman named Juliet. She is from the Down Deep. She is an engineer. And the silo is kind of set up where the further down you live in the silo, kind of the lower class you are viewed as. So when she becomes sheriff, a lot of people are not happy about it. And we follow her as she is traversing this new role as sheriff while also trying to find answers. Again, I enjoyed the first one well enough. It wasn't a new favorite by any means, but my husband Sydney, who recommended me the entire series, says that the second one is even better. This is a prequel of sorts. This is going to show kind of how the silo came to be, and I am excited to kind of see the backstory of what we got in Wool and to see how it all started. Draw 3. Two blues and a red. Let's go with another red. Roll 3 was another hyped horror. Amazing. I have just the thing once again. It is Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. I unfortunately do not have my copy yet. I got the special edition from Aardvark, but it has not made it into my hands yet. But I cannot wait to get it in my hands, because this is one of my most anticipated horror releases of the year. Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang was one of my favorite books of last year, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even read the description, the synopsis of this before hitting the purchase button. I just knew I had to have it. I have since read the synopsis, and I am even more excited. This is a horror that is steeped in Japanese mythology. We follow two young people, a young man in college and a young woman samurai who is in exile. Two young killers who somehow open this door between their times while living in the same Japanese house 150 years apart. And apparently, like, one of these stories isn't real, like it's a lie. And there is something clearly going on with this house that they have both found in their hour of need that is somehow bringing them together through space and time. And I am so excited to find out what is going on. This sounds so creepy. It sounds so atmospheric, maybe a little romantic. Plus, it's Kylie Lee Baker. My expectations are so high. I'm so excited. Draw 4. We have a blue, a yellow, and a green. Let's do a green. Draw 4 got us a green, which is a romance. Guys, another power. I don't understand, but I'm not complaining. Roll 4 got us a green power. And green is the Nightmare of Temptation, which is a romance. So for a hyped romance, I have chosen The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I have seen and heard so many amazing things about this book. I've never read anything from Ashley Poston before, but with this book being so beloved, I just had to see what all the hype was about. Funnily enough, a pretty similar storyline to Japanese Gothic, the last book we talked about. This also has some timey-wimey, people separated by time going on, but this is a very different vibe, I'm sure. So we're following this woman who moves into her late aunt's apartment, and one night she finds this man just standing in her kitchen. Turns out this man lives 7 years in the past. I don't know if he lives in the apartment because it was her aunt's apartment. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but I know that they are separated by 7 years of time. And of course, they're going to fall in love. And I just don't know if we're going to get a happily ever after with them being separated by 7 years. So, I mean, is this going to make me sad, guys? I don't know if I'm ready for that, but I've heard so many good things, and this has been on my shelf for quite some time, so it's time to get to it. Draw 5. We have, 3 yellows. The decision has been made for me. A yellow. Draw 5. Another yellow. I truly don't understand. It's another power. And I'm putting them in different directions. Like, I'm not just having it with the power up and then dropping it. I don't know what's happening. Roll 5, guys, was another power. I don't know what's going on. I promise these dice aren't weighted, but it is a yellow power, which is any other genre. Our miscellaneous genre, I was thinking maybe The Wicker King by Kay Ankrum, because I really want to get to this before it has to go back to the library. But I'm thinking that this, even though it is kind of just YA literary, kind of mental health focused, I think there are some like fantastical elements, and I can't choose a fantasy for this. So what I'm going to go with is a mystery thriller that has been on my shelf for probably damn near a decade. I don't know when it came out, but it is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I have read so many Ruth Wares and usually really enjoy them. And this is probably by far her most popular and most beloved. So I cannot believe that I haven't gotten to it yet. In this, we follow a nanny who is recounting the series of events taking place that lead up to her being imprisoned, because the children that she was sent to live in nanny for, I think one of them ends up dead, and she is being accused of their murder, but she is adamant that she is innocent. And there's also some weird things about the house. It is a smart house, so there are cameras everywhere. I don't know how we're not going to get exactly what happened with cameras everywhere, but there's also like some weird glitching, malfunctioning technology going on, which is really intriguing. Again, honestly can't believe it's taken me this long to get this onto a TBR, but I am so excited. I'm really hoping that it lives up to the hype. And draw 6. We have a yellow, a green, and a blue. Let's go for another yellow. Okay, can we go 6 for 6? It is another yellow. Okay, so I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna put it in this way, and we're gonna drop. Oops, I missed the dice tower. I was trying to give it some hype. Okay, we have an exhaust. That would have been cool though. 6 powers. And roll 6 got an exhaust, which means that we get to spin the spinner wheel. This is just a wheel that I've created that has a bunch of prompts on it. So let's see what prompt we're gonna get. Okay, easy enough. A book that I own. Roll 6. We didn't get a power. I was starting to fear there that we were going to get literally 6 powers. I mean, not that that's a bad thing. That's probably my favorite symbol, is the hyped symbol. That's something that I am excited about, but I don't know, it just felt so weird. So I'm glad that we got something a little different. We got to spin our spinner wheel, and an easy prompt at that. It is an owned book. So I'm going to go for a sci-fi. I am choosing The Martian by Andy Weir. Project Hail Mary is everywhere right now, and I read it when it first came out, adored it, and immediately put this on my TBR, but then I just kind of never got around to it. But after watching the movie and kind of reigniting my obsession with Project Hail Mary, I knew that I had to get this on a TBR before my excitement died down again, because I really do want to read this. I may have watched the movie when it originally came out in 2006? Question? I don't remember, but I may have watched it. But if I did, I remember absolutely nothing. Zero recollection. I do know that potatoes are kind of a big deal in this. So we are following this astronaut named Mark. He and his crew are the first to set foot on Mars, but some kind of storm or something happens that forces his crew to abandoned the planet without him. They think that he is dead. So he is left on Mars, no ship, no nothing but his resourcefulness to kind of survive on. Again, I adored Project Hail Mary. Andy Weir's writing is so phenomenal. It is so sciencey and mathy, but while still being so comprehensible and like easily accessible. So I expect no less from this one. I don't know if this is his debut, but I know it definitely came before Project Hail Mary. So I'm hoping that I still like it just as much as I did Project Hail Mary and that it lives up to the hype. Some other books that I wanted to mention that I do want to try to fit in, especially with Escape the Readathon going on. I'm going to need some short books. So with that being said, I would love to try to fit in, again, The Wicker King, because I'm so excited. I've heard it compared to Don't Let the Forest In, which was my favorite book of last year. Obviously, this one came first, but I've heard it compared to it. So I am so excited to get to it. It's been on my TBR for years, and it's so cool how the pages kind of escalate to kind of show his deteriorating mental state. And there's like pictures and like articles and notebook papers and cutouts. So it has some multimedia aspects to it as well, which is so cool. So I would love to try to get this in as well. I would also love to try to fit in Exiles by Nathan Coley. This is like a horror sci-fi novella that I have been itching to get to, and with Escaping Aliens, what better time to read it than now? Not necessarily short, so maybe not best for a readathon, but I really want to get to Crooked Kingdom this month as well. I read Six of Crows last month and obsessed. Chef's kiss, and I just really need to find out how this is going to conclude and what's going to happen to our gang. I'm not going to count any of those extras towards my actual TBR, of course, but I did want to mention them. I'm hoping to be able to fit some in around the books that I've chosen for my TBR. And I'm so happy to say that our Cthulhu Tower has brought us some luck, because not only did we get 5 powers in a row, what are the odds? But I have been able to add some really exciting books to my TBR this month. I have 6 books that I need to read this month, 2,274 pages, absolutely doable. So I am hoping to be able to squeeze some of those extras in where I can. Again, let me know if you have any name ideas for our little Cthulhu. Thank you so much for watching. I am always so happy you're here. I appreciate every single one of you. Let me know what you are most anticipating reading this month, or let me know if we are unintentionally buddy reading anything, or if you don't have much to say and just want to leave me an emoji to let me know you were here. Leave me any kind of space emoji for all of the sci-fis and for Escape the Readathon this month. While you're down there, don't forget to like the video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. I hope you are loving what you are reading lately. Stay safe out there, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye, friends.
Before you go, then make me. You didn't think I'd be here waiting up all night, all night. I'm here to tell you something. There ain't another love that is gonna hold you down like mine.